Build Your Best Life, Incorporated, with Coach Deborah, invites you to attend our 2024 Grateful Conference, Monday, November 11th through Thursday, November 14th. This year's theme is Blueprint to Show Gratefulness. Nightly presenters are Monday, November 11th, William Manimi; Tuesday, November 12th, Evangelist Catherine Trotter; Wednesday, November 13th, Jocelyn Charles; Thursday, November 14th, Coach Ricardo Miller. These leaders are professionals from all walks of life. They will enlighten everyone on their words of blessings and gratitude. Please join us nightly Monday, November 11th through Thursday, November 14th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can view these motivating and captivating messages live on the Build Your Best Life Facebook page and YouTube channel. Please mark your calendars to ensure you don't miss these powerful messages and reflect on what you are grateful for. This time of highlighting service, giving back, survival, and appreciating even the little things will bring hope and love to all. You don't want to miss this year's Grateful Conference, Blueprint to Show Gratefulness. In addition, Build Your Best Life looks forward to blessing a young man and a single mother who is raising a son during this event. Visit our website at www.buildyourbestlife.org for more information. Or send your tax-deductible gift to PayPal. Meet BYBLWDDS30.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Real Talk. And I know y'all saw that video. I'm excited. I love every year when it's time for the Grateful Conference because those are always amazing. So just make sure you put it on your calendar and get ready. Good evening, Anastasia. How are you?
I am great. How are you, Ms. Deborah?
I'm doing wonderful.
Awesome.
I can't talk. I see Max, Agnes, thank Peggy, Dan, thank Deacon Holmes. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a great topic, I think, today for our Real Talk. You know, this month we are talking about blueprint for wellness, blueprint for well-being. And, you know, you can have a lot of different things going on. Some days you're at 100, some days not so much. But it is always important to make sure that you focus on yourself, on your body, and making each and every area of your body the best that you can make it. So that's why this month we are talking about this. Because, you know, when it comes all down to it, we have been created just for us. You know, God created us individually. He didn't just do a whole package deal. He created us as individuals. And so, well, we all have minds. You know, sometimes people can take those minds that they have and waste them following risky behaviors or activities, just not utilizing their gifts and brains at all, while others think it is important, and they do those types of things that really relate to keeping a healthy body from the top of their heads to the tip of their toes. Excuse me. And so today, that's why we want to focus on our topic. But I want to reflect on Second Timothy verse 1, chapter 1, verse 7. Second Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind." So he wants us to have a sound mind. When you have a mind that is full of what it can be because you have taken good care of it, because you know anything that you have, whether it is something that's material like a home or a car, you can't just buy it, put it out in the driveway, and never have any maintenance done. Because why? One day you're going to go out there, it's not going to run. Same thing with our bodies and our minds. We have to take care of them so that they can function to their fullest. So working on your well-being can create a mind that gives you healthy benefits. Do you agree, Anastasia?
Absolutely, I do. And I love that analogy that you use of having something and not maintaining it. Because when we dig deeper into that and we think about, even if it's not something that's as high purchase costly as a car or a house, if you do not maintain something as small, well, I would say as small as your cell phone, but cell phones are costing, a small down payment here and there nowadays. Because, but things as small as, let's say, just the dishes, let's say your shoes, let's say your clothes. There's a lot of fast fashion that's going on these days. And so those types of things are becoming a lot less costly, especially through sites like Shein and Temu and even Amazon a while back. Amazon has changed, but you know, those things, those sites that sell fast fashion, they're giving you these items that are very low cost, but also low value. And even with those things, if you do not take care of them, you're not going to get that low cost, the value of that out of those items. And so we always have to think about maintaining and hold that comparison very near and dear to us in regular life, in everyday life, so that we can make sure that we're not losing sight of that. And so while we're talking about a mind with benefits, we also need to think about our self worth. And I think it's so great that we're starting out with self worth because it is the beginning of everything else. Every other decision that you're going to make, every action that you're going to take, your self worth and valuing yourself should be a part of that decision. And so when we look at UNCW Edu, it says that self worth is the internal self sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. Self worth is often confused with self esteem, which relies on external factors such as successes and achievements to define worth, and can often be inconsistent, leading to someone struggling with feeling worthy. And so we don't want to confuse self worth and self esteem. Your self esteem can be damaged by what somebody else thinks of you or what somebody else says to you. But your self worth is how you've determined that you value yourself and how you've determined the value that you've placed on yourself that matters. And so, first, let's not confuse the two things. Make sure that we are not allowing those external factors to make a determination on our personal value of ourselves, our self worth. And so when we think about it, we think about being kind to yourself. When we want to build our mind and change our mindset to, to value these benefits and to make sure that we are not losing track of our self worth, we have to first be kind to ourselves. When you are kind to someone else, it's a lot easier to recognize. If you see a homeless person on the street and give them a few dollars, you consider yourself being kind. If you see an old lady that needs to cross the street or needs help with her groceries or something like that, you consider that being kind. But let's be mindful of how we can be kind to ourselves.
Mm.
When we need that little pick me up and we need that little help, that baggage of groceries that we would normally help somebody else with, we may have some baggage of depression. We have some baggage of, a little blow to our self esteem, a negative outlook, a bad situation that we are dwelling in instead of just allowing it to pass and, roll off of our shoulders. And so we must remember to be kind to ourselves. In being kind to ourselves, we need to ensure that we are building positive relationships. Positive relationships. That is an important thing because in the same way that self-worth and self-esteem can be easily swapped between or misunderstood between the two terms, misunderstandings between the two terms, we want to make sure that we're focused on not just relationships, but positive relationships. There are times that the people in our lives can be affecting our self worth. If they're saying to us that, you can't be a CEO, you can't be an architect, you can't be a singer, you can't be an accomplished writer. Eventually, those things are going to become a part of what we believe. And even though before this friendship started or this relationship began, we thought that these things were attainable and achievable, after so long of hearing that we can't, and those negativities start to seep in, they begin to affect our value of ourselves, our own self worth. And so make sure that you are maintaining positive relationships, even if in those relationships you have to learn how to say no, because it's the same thing. When someone says to you, you cannot be an accomplished writer, your response to them should be no, I can be an accomplished writer. When someone says to you, you cannot be a dancer, you cannot be an architect, you cannot be a CEO, do not be afraid to say no. I can be anything that I set my mind to. If you're in a friendship, relationship, sometimes even with family, and it's not safe for you to say no, then that's a situation that you should be able to remove yourself from. Because even the best of friends should be able to tell each other no, especially when it comes to something that is as important and as valuable as your self worth and maintaining and building your self worth. December, I see you there. I see those nods. I think I might have hit on something good today. I think we're starting out good.
Yes, yes. I mean, hey, it's like, I was sitting here thinking, it's like, if you go out and you want to sell your home, you're gonna say, if you think if it's really worth 100,000, I'll just make a low number. You're gonna go and say, oh yes, I'm selling it for 125. Oh, it is worth much more than that because I've done this and this and this, but I'll let it go for 125. Well, what about yourself? Don't undersell yourself. That self-worth, that's I like that. Yeah. So another one we want to talk about and how you're having a healthy mindset benefits your dignity. Dignity is really, really something that's important. And you will find that the more mature you come, the more you will think about dignity. Because we all have a right to be treated with dignity and to be respected. And, it's like you're in a group, you're in a meeting, and you give your opinion. And depending on who's in that room, they can give the same opinion or statement that you did. And when you say it, nobody says anything. But when that other person says this, oh, that's a good idea. So that kind of makes you like, oh, wait a minute. So, so that makes you feel a certain type way. So, that's the same with your dignity. You want to be proud of yourself. You want to be able to take care of yourself as you age. You don't want to have to depend on others. It's nice for others to do things for you, but you don't like to get in a position where you have to depend on others. So as long as you can, like hold your head up high, do those things that you want to do, live by yourself if you want to, of these type things. You don't have to live in, when you get older, assisted living. You can live in your own home, take care of your own garden or whatever. It makes you feel good. And so I'm going to give you some tips on how to maintain your dignity. And that's even at an early age and as you grow through life. Things are going to happen. So you always want to be able to feel like you have your dignity. So one thing is to revisit your values. You get to a point in your life and you always talk about your goals, that blueprint for success, and you're all excited. You have your vision board, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to check this off. Don't let those things die down. Always have something that you can look forward to, something that was on your list that you may save to later on in your 20s or 40s or 60s. But it's something that you still want to do. Be just as excited, but don't forget those things that you said were your goals and things that you wanted to do. Hi, Peggy. Thank you for tuning in. So you just want to keep those things, going. And then, as Peggy just said, maintain positive relationships. I don't know why she up on my list, but my number 2 thing is to look at your relationships. You want to have your dignity. So if you're around someone and they're always talking down to you or down at you, you got to kind of revisit that. Maybe they were in my life for a season. Maybe they were in my life for a reason, but I think it's about time for them to step. If they're not giving you what you're giving them, if they're not on your same level, it's time to dismiss them. And it's okay. Like Anastasia say, it's okay to say no sometimes. It's okay to dismiss people out of your lives when they don't fit anymore. So that's something else that you can do to maintain that dignity. The third one is focus on the activities that you enjoy. So, if you enjoy reading, you might be someone that enjoys crocheting and knitting. Someone, your grandmother or great grandmother taught you how to do that. And it's like, well, that's not so trendy. Maybe I don't want to do that. If you enjoy doing it, if you love doing it, keep doing it. It's what's going to make you feel good, make you feel like you have your self-worth. So you keep doing it. You don't have to worry about what the other person is doing. And that is what happens to us a lot of time, even with keeping our minds well focused, well groomed. We are so worried about what the other person is doing, what level they're on. They're not you. They're not made with the stuff that you're made with. So you have to focus on what you like to do, what you enjoy. I like watching certain TV shows. I love, love, love to read, and I love to do mind puzzles. So those are the things that in my me time that I enjoy doing. So I continue to do those things. My number four thing is practicing self care. You got to take care of who numero uno. You know, I love to say that. Remember, if you get down and think about taking care of yourself, always remember when you're on that plane, what do they tell you? If the face mask falls down, put it on yourself first. Because if you cannot breathe and take care of yourself, you can't help that child or that other person. You're not good for anybody, so you're all going down. So take care of yourself. Always take care of everything that you need to do for yourself. I know you have phases in your life where you want to do things for other people, and that's wonderful. It's always a good thing to give, but take care of yourself. Make sure you're setting up those annual appointments and you're going on them. And if they give you recommendations, you are following them. Those are some of those things. And then the last one I have is identify your needs. So if you want to maintain your dignity, it may be something that you couldn't do before. And now you need, just like, let's just say for all of your life, you had 20/20 vision, but all of a sudden you find out like, wait a minute, I can't see that. Okay. You don't want people to think because you can't read something, oh, something's going on. Oh, she didn't know that word. If you can't see it, let people know. Eyesight can go bad whether you are 5 or 95. So you have to let people know when things are going on so they won't think, oh, something wrong. Take care and identify your needs. Just to let people know, my prescription is changing. I'm going to have to get these glasses changed because right now I cannot see. I don't know what that word says. What is that? It's all good. But you can do it. It's important to maintain that dignity, to keep your mind and your health at 100. So don't forget your dignity.
Miss Deborah, Miss Deborah, Miss Deborah. I had to hide my face for a second there.
Why?
Especially when you're talking about when you cannot see, because I am not wearing my glasses today. I'm so tired of these lights. They're always reflecting. You gotta adjust. I'm like, I'm going without it. And look at that. I've got this tablet zoomed in as wide as it can possibly go just to make sure that I can see the words right now. But I thank you so much for me, speaking it. I'm trying to maintain my dignity, but I just had to tell on myself just now. And another thing that happens when, in your example, you said that, you know, in trying to maintain dignity, we don't want to admit when things are going wrong sometimes. And I believe that that goes also to our next point, which is belonging. Because it is we want to belong in our friend circle still. We want to belong to our church group still. We want to belong in the workplace and to still be able to maintain the relationships and the friendships that we've had previously. Sometimes we will do things that are damaging to us personally just so that we can get along with others and we can feel like we are still a part of the group or a part of the crowd. Or even if it's not so much the anguish of being a part of the crowd, but the anguish of not being a part of the crowd. We don't want to be that one that is standing out. We don't want to be that one that is different from others. We don't want to be that one that sticks out like a sore thumb. But sometimes that's what we are created for. And it's not until we accept that that we can truly walk in our purpose. And so, along with that belonging, first we have to be open and honest with our communication. Mm-hmm. Yes, this may help us to belong to the group or to belong to the crowd because When we're open and honest in our communications, we find that we are able to speak on it from a more passionate place, from a more mindful and insightful place. When we're being open and honest about something that we truly love or we truly have insight on or we've truly felt, we are, our language is different when we're being open and honest, as opposed to when we are just saying something, just to give a little point here or there and fit in with what someone else is talking about, or we're only doing it so that we can fit in with what everyone else is doing. When we're doing it deceptively or we're doing it against our own choice, or well, no, I know I don't want to say choice. When we're fighting against our own nature, what comes natural to us to do or to say, we're fighting against that just so that we can belong to the group that we're at or we're in at that time. It's a harder fight. It's a harder struggle. We're going to have a harder time finding words to say and knowing what actions to do next. But when it's something that we are being open and honest with ourselves about, it comes naturally. We don't have to think too hard about what it is we're going to say next because we already know what we feel. When we are alone in our room, we think and we feel these things. And so to have that opportunity to share it in an open forum, it's going to spill out of you all over into the crowd, and it's just going to come from a place of passion and purpose. And so when we are looking for our sense of belonging, we have to, one, look at open and honest communication, and two, recognize effort and accomplishment. I'm sure that all of us have been in a place or a space where we know that we did something well. We know that we look good today. When you put those colors together and you put that little extra effort into your outfit, you're going to step a little higher. You're going to step a little cuter, a little cutesy, a little demure. You're going to do all of that. And so the effort that you've taken into something as simple as your wardrobe for that day, your outfit for that day, or if we're talking about your accomplishments, when you are in school and you know that you've done your very best with a research paper, and you know that you're in the workplace and you've been given this assignment and you executed it to a point where nobody else could have done what you did.
All right.
Acknowledging those things or having those things acknowledged, it puts you on top of the world. And if it does that for you personally, imagine what it does for somebody else. When they've put in effort into their outfit, and when they've put in extra effort into that assignment, and they've executed it in a way that they know that nobody else could. They wearing those shoes or wearing that dress the way that nobody else could. Acknowledging their effort, acknowledging someone else's effort and accomplishment draws them closer to you also. Because it means that you're paying attention to them. It means that you are generally a detail-oriented person. And not only are you paying attention, but you're willing to vocalize what you've noticed. There are a lot of people that are going to see things and they're going to know things and they're going to notice that you have that little extra flip in your hair. They're going to notice, but they're not going to say anything to you because sometimes it's a self-esteem thing with them. And then they may not want to be that person that gives that extra boost to your self-esteem. They may be jealous of your self-esteem and they're going to say, you know what, let me know. She already knows she's cute. I don't need to add to that and make her head any bigger. Whichever you look guilty. You look guilty. You know you be putting those outfits together. I know. I've seen it. I've seen it. So, in our sense of belonging and making sure that we are Remember, one, being open and honest about our communications and making sure that in those they're coming from a place of passion and purpose. But two, remembering the feeling of what it's like when our efforts and accomplishments are recognized and giving that feeling to someone else. That increases the belonging, that increases the camaraderie that you can have in any environment, no matter where it is you're going. And again, don't be afraid to say no. Sometimes that environment just may not be the one that you belong to. And when you realize that and recognize it, you're going to have to step away from it.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I like that belonging, but I was cracking up. You talk about them outfits. And I was thinking we were on the cruise, and I had on some jeans, and Dan and I had on matching polo shirts. And so I had one side in and one side out. And he was like, come here, look at your clothes. Fixed right. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, yes, they are. He was like, no, they're not. Because one side in and one side out. I said, that's how you're supposed to wear.
Exactly. Exactly. That was on purpose. That was style.
Yeah. I said, you better ask our daughter. He was like, you ain't going out like that. It was funny. If you have just joined us, we are talking about mind with benefits. And see, when you've been working on your mental health and you're doing the right things, so you can laugh at yourself. You just have
Yeah.
fun. So that's what we're talking about today. And we are giving you some of the benefits of when you are dealing with a healthy mental health. So thank y'all for tuning in. If you just tuned in, I see Tanya is on here and Karen Wright Lightner, belated happy birthday. So thank y'all for tuning in. So the next one I'm going to talk about is problem solving. Problem solving. Now that's hard to get away from now with all the gadgets and the changes in this app and that app. You get on and you learn something and you get it down and it's working great. The next thing you know, you look at it, it's like, wait a minute, this don't look right. They've changed it. They think they're making it better, but it's like driving you nuts. Well, you have to do that. And how do you feel comfortable in doing that? Well, your mental wellness provides you with a sense of those juices and fluids and all going on in your brain to help you to think more clearer. So then that you have those cognitive functions that we need that helps us with critical thinking and problem solving. And you might say, well, I don't do that stuff. Yeah, you do produce some problem solving. I mean, because it's even like if you have these new air fryers and cookers and different gadgets around the house. You don't just take them out the box and know how to use them. You got to figure that stuff out. That's problem solving. You got to get in there and do those things. So you got to have a clear mind, have that mind where you're not just sitting stagnant, not trying to learn things, not trying to keep your mind going, because you will find you will need some problem solving. You're going to need to do some critical thinking, and don't have some kids in school or some grandkids. You got to help them with their schoolwork because their fourth grade is here. And my fourth grade was way down here because the stuff that my fourth grader has, my fourth grade heartbeat has, it's like, oh my goodness. And then, the way that we were taught how to multiply and divide, they do it totally differently. So you can't teach them the way that you learn because they're going to be like, that's really Greek. And then when they go to school, they're not going to be able to do it. So you've got to learn how to do it the way they're being taught today. So you got to keep that problem solving working. So that means that you have to keep that mind well so it will benefit you. Think about that. Just think about that for a second. When has there been a time when it was something new that you were trying to do, something you were trying to figure out, well, how does this work? And you were like, why did it make everything so complicated? Is it that it's complicated, or are we letting our brains, our minds slow down because we like, well, I don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that. So we're not using some of the different departments that our brain utilizes. So we have to keep up to keep up. You know, I always like to say, you don't know what you don't know. Hey, you got to ask somebody what's going on, what's changing. Because, like I said, if you use any type of apps on your phone or whatever, they change. Your mind has to be motivated to figure out, okay, now I got to figure this out. They changed it. It was working fine. I mean, I have this app because I hate to get a group text and everybody that responds, you get it too. So when I try to send out group text, I got this app. It was so simple when I got it. Have everybody in there, have them in different categories. Like I got Build Your Best Life, I got my Bible study group, I got my family, and you just click a couple buttons and put, I want to use their name. Send everybody the same message, but it'll say Anastasia, so and so, blah, 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 blah. Deborah, so and so, blah, 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 blah. Why they changed it? I'm still trying to figure it out. So keep that brain working.
Wow. Oh, you gave such a good example when you were talking about the way that math is done, and then the way that the software always updates on these apps and things like that. Like when we approach something, it's always so important to approach it with a great mindset. But if you're approaching it and you're like, hold on, something changed, something happened, okay, I'm done with it, out of it, not gonna do it, don't have time for it. But if you approach it openly and you're like, you know what, I'm determined that this is something that I want to do, this is something that I want to get done, and this is how it has to be done, you're gonna figure it out. Now, whether you're gonna be mad while you're figuring it out, or if you're just gonna be calm and feeling productive, that's a whole other thing. But you're going to tackle it and you're going to make sure that you're figuring it out. And so that kind of ties in with our self determination, which is the next thing. Our self determination. It can be interchanged with the word, self motivation, making sure that when we are going after something, that we don't lose focus, that we don't lose momentum, that we continually work hard at it and don't give up just because we've hit an obstacle or we've had something come in our way that has slowed us down a little bit. And so when we're thinking about our self determination and we're making up our mind to be determined, one, we have to define success for ourselves. You know what success means and is for you. Success for someone else may be making 300,000 in a week. Success for you may be going from making $500 in a week to now making $700. But that is your definition of success. No one else can define it for you. No one else can determine it for you. You're going to have to do that yourself. So in order for you to remain determined, you have to define what success looks like for you so that on that road to staying determined and staying motivated, you know where your stepping stones are. The next thing that you're going to want to do when you're thinking about your self determination is to keep your expectations high. You don't want to set your sights so low that they are easily accomplished. Because then when you're done with it, you're done. What are you going to do next? What's going to be the next thing that you do if your goal for yourself, for your life, was just to get to that $700 a week point? If at first you've determined for yourself that $700 a week is success, that does not mean that that is your peak. It does not mean that that is your ending point. After you've already hit that 700 a week goal, then guess what? You need to set a new goal for yourself. You need something else for you to be determined about and motivated about. And so maybe the next goal is going to be $1,000 a week. And in order for you to get there, you're going to have to figure out your stepping stones. You're going to have to make your plans. You're going to have to execute them effectively and figure out in sequential order. Let's not do things out of order now, but in a sequential order, how it is that you're going to go from that 700 to the 1,000. Plan those steps along the way to get from that 700 to 1,000. And along the way, make sure that you're rewarding yourself. Don't allow yourself to be discouraged. Don't allow yourself to be deterred. Remember, we're talking about self determination, self motivation. So along the way, don't forget to treat yourself. Even if it only means a little ice cream, even if it only means a pair of shoes, even if it only means a little Starbucks here and there. We all know that I'm a Starbucks queen. So that is great motivation. It's a great little reward for yourself to say, you know what? Pat, pat, pat. I did something good.
Yep.
And so while we're thinking about our self determination and making our minds up to stay determined, don't forget, we're talking about mind with benefit. So when we're making our mind up to stay motivated and to stay self determined, which means we're not using any external factors to be determined or motivated, we're doing it on our own. We're going to define success for ourselves, make sure that those expectations stay high, and plan and strategize on how it is we're going to meet those goals.
You say, I can do
I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Yeah.
it. Yep. Well, the last one I have for you is tolerance. Tolerance. Ooh, how much can you take? How much can you take? Well, your mental wellness cultivates a sense of tolerance by allowing you to manage your emotions and your reactions to stressors better. Because you can get angry, but if you just get really angry, if you get upset because somebody does something in traffic, but when you get road rage because of that, you don't want to get to that level. So you gotta, you can't walk out the house and your mind is all tore up. You just a mess, and then go out in the world with everything that's going on. It's not gonna take much for your emotions to explode, right? So you gotta find that window of tolerance. So you have to feel like, sometimes I have, if certain things set you off, then you have to kind of like prepare yourself, you know. Like I don't like when I'm in the store in a line, I don't like somebody to get right up on me. They cannot get waited on until I get waited on. So I try to position myself in a way that somebody cannot get right up on me, because I know that's going to upset me, and I'm going to keep turning around. I'm not going to briefly turn around. I'm going to snatch my head around and look at them. So I know that'll set me off. So
Okay.
when I'm with my grandkids, my 7 heartbeats, I try to keep them close, because I know if somebody do something to them, I'm
Mm.
snap. So I have to prepare myself. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to act ugly. So I know what my triggers are. So So I have to prepare myself. So that's what you kind of have to do with your emotions. If you were listening earlier, I think well, it wouldn't have been this week before I left. So maybe on the 5th, talking about emotions. You know, we all have emotions and we have to we are supposed to use them, but it's the way in which we use them. If we just, just swell up with, anger. It's okay to get upset a little bit, but when you just get fighting mad or, something like that, if you get sad, it's okay to be sad for a little while, but if you sad for 2-3 days, that's not good. So with the mental wellness, you have to build those tolerances. So I'm going to give you some little things that they talked about as I was doing my research. And the first one is emotional regulation. And that helps you to better manage your emotions and keep them from elevating. So that's kind of like what I was talking about. You know what your triggers are. So kind of keep those in your mind. All right. Then you have stress resilience, and that's developing healthy coping strategies. So if you know that long lines really get you in a space, then what do? If it's like shopping, getting gas, you try to do it at those times that you know are probably slower for other people. So that might be really, really early in the morning or right after the lunch hour or something like that, because you know that having to stand on the line, you're not going to like it. So you try to put your schedule that's going to benefit you so you won't put yourself in that space. Mindfulness practice. Get some techniques such as meditation, yoga, something like that, that will calm you enough so that you can think rationally. So, even if I'm in that line and somebody's up on me, and I turn around and look at them, and I move up a little bit, and I'm hoping, okay, that'll tell them I don't want them all up on me. But if it's not working, I'm either going to have to say something, or either I'm going to have to take my mind away to something else. What is something else that's really, really pleasing to me that's going to make me forget that this person is breathing down my back? So something pleasant, but something in my mind that's going to get my mind away from what is making me wacky. Another one is positive mindset. Positive mindset is always good. So when you're in that negative place, you're beating yourself up, you're not looking at your self-worth, you're not being self-determined, you're not looking at your tolerance levels, you're not trying to figure things out on your own. What's positive? Positive. I can do this. Now's not a good time to do this. I need to do it later today. I got enough gas for the day. I'll come back tomorrow early in the morning. I'll get this done. Maybe this person is just in a hurry. They don't mean any harm. They weren't taught any better. So, it's okay. It's okay. They close up and they're not touching me. It's okay. So take that thing that's irritating you and make it out into a positive. And if we think about it, we can do it. We do it all the time. If somebody that we really, really like, if they were doing the same thing, we wouldn't have that same reaction. So we know we can control it, right? So make it a positive. And then again, the self-awareness. What triggers me? What are some of those things that are just like, that was not, who was that? That wasn't Deborah Smith. Who was that lady? You don't want to go there, right? So you have to keep in your mind, what are those things that trigger me? I'm not going to let them trigger me. I need to think about it. This person, every morning, they want to come in gossiping. I don't want to hear that. I always walk away. They always coming in my cubicle. What can I do differently? You start the conversation. And every time they try to go, you go somewhere else positive. But find those things that are going to help you to tolerate those things that may get into your mind, because you need to keep your mind happy and free and fun.
Yes, Nova, I am I'm so happy that you got to talk about tolerance. I had to smile when you talked about the line at the grocery store. I had to smile when you talked about your 7 heartbeats and nobody rubbing up on them the right way or anything like that. Um, those are definitely situations that, you're going to need a little bit of tolerance in. You're going to make sure that you set yourself up for success and not failure when you're walking out into this cruel world. But our last one for this evening is acceptance and respect for others. Sometimes the best way for you to be tolerant of someone else or tolerant of a situation is for you to flip it a little bit. Um, as Miss Deborah alluded to, if it's somebody that we love, we are going to be more accepting and more tolerant of things that they say and things that they do. But the other side of that is having respect for others. And so sometimes it will not be someone that you love or somebody that you know personally that is doing something that you don't like. And so it may just be important in those moments to one, exercise a little bit of acceptance. For you to do that, you're going to have to listen to others, respect their differences and their beliefs and opinions. That's a hard thing for us to do. It is a hard thing for us to do, but remember, we're talking about having a mind with benefits. And one of the greatest benefits that you can have is to learn how to be accepting and respectful of others. For us to do that, we're going to have to listen to their differences and respect their beliefs and opinions. It's okay for you not to agree. It's okay to have a difference of opinion. It is how we express and talk through that difference of opinion that really matters. It is how we approach that difference of opinion that's going to determine if after this conversation, you and I can still be friends. It is your handling of the situation that's going to determine if I'm going to be mad at you for just 5 minutes and then I'm going to think about it and we're going to be good again. Or it may take us 5 years before we reconnect. So that is the first thing. When we're thinking about and making up our minds for acceptance and respect for others, we have to be open to listening to their differences and their beliefs and their opinions. We don't have to agree all the time. And the second part of learning acceptance and respect for others is to think before you speak. No, people always say we've got 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. We are supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. And if we're truly doing that, then we're going to be mindful of our tone. We're going to be mindful of our language, which is our verbal language and our body language. And we're going to be mindful of what we're giving off and giving out. And hopefully, we are translating it in a way that we truly intend. And we're being respectful to the other person while we're doing it. Yeah, there are going to be times when your mouth is saying something and your body is saying something else. Those are rare occurrences. It's not usual that your body is just going to be doing this out of whack thing. Your body is showing anger when your words are actually love. That's not an all day everyday thing. But when we are being intentional about being accepting of others, and respectful of others. We are going to consider our language, our tone, and we're going to think before we speak. Now, in saying that, if you think that this message today has been valuable to you, you think that somebody else in your friends or your family's list can benefit from what was said today, and all of these topics that were covered, they are so wonderful. Everything just tied into itself and into everything else. I don't know. We just had a bounce off session today, Miss Deborah. It was really a bounce off session today. I know it took us a little time to get through it, but I know that you can find the value in it. And if you did, make sure that you share it, make sure that you like it, make sure that you send it directly to someone that you know can benefit from everything that was given today.
Yes. Great, great, great. Awesome tips. And thank you so much for tuning in. And like Anastasia said, please share, because if you don't share, we're going to miss someone that really needs the information and make them have a better day, a better week, a better month. So we appreciate it when you like, share, and as well as comment. So thank you again for tuning in. Now, Saturday morning real, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday, or 8:30 Central Time. My topic is going to be, you may have some skin in the game. You may have some skin in the game. Still talking about that well-being. So make sure that you tune in, check it out. If you can't make the live, remember you can always go out on Facebook and YouTube and catch the reblast of the broadcast. And don't forget, we are declaring Jeremiah 29:11 over your life, and your life. God wants everyone to have prosperity and the future that you hope for. So please, please, please design your blueprint for success based on the plans that God has for you. Put in that work and build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan. It's our commitment. Make sure that you put that Grateful Conference on your calendars. It's November 11th through the 14th. You won't be disappointed. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you, Anastasia. Love you so much. Ta-da.